don't really know how long ago, but there were travelling people in Scotland, and most of them travelled by the highways and byways. But there were one clan, the McAllisters, who were travelling on the west coast of Scotland by boat, and they built their own boat that they rowed. And this particular family, there was a father and his wife and two grown-up sons, and they'd had the sons when they were young. So the mother was still of childbearing age, and they lived a hard life. They would travel by boat, rowing up and down the coast, selling tin goods and trading with crofters and fishermen along the coast. And then when it was winter, they would camp in a very basic tent and try to keep warm and work when they could. That's how they survived. But the mother, she missed her brothers and sisters. She had grown up in a big travelling family, and she hadn't seen them for many years, for they were all travellers on the land. Anyway, it came to pass that she was going to have another child, and she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, but within a day the child had died. And the next day they were out on the boat, and of course she was full of woe, and they were rowing along the coast, and she saw behind her, in the wake of the boat, a seal cub. And without hesitating, she reached out and she took the seal cub into the boat. And the father said, "What are you doing, wife?" "Well, it's clearly lost its mother. How will it survive, this poor seal cub?" "Throw it back," said her sons. "Seals, they take the fish, they're not our friends." But she said, "This seal cub I will keep, for I have lost a daughter." And at that her husband's heart softened. Well, she kept the seal, and she fed it, for she had milk in her own breast. And it got stronger, and she loved that seal, and the seal followed her everywhere. It cared nothing for the husband and the two sons. That seal cub depended on her for her life. And time went by, and over the months of the summer the seal got stronger, and she would often take it when their rest were by the fire down to the shore and let it swim, and it would play in the water, and she liked to swim as well. But now, after a few months, it was strong enough. It would be independent. And one day when she went down to the rocks and she let it out into the sea, it swam away, and then at a distance it looked back at her and then was gone. Its round dark eyes, she remembered. Well, a short time later, she had gone down to the rocks to wash the pans after cooking at the fire by the camp, and to her surprise there was a girl, probably no more than 8 or 9 years old, sitting on the rocks. And she said, "Where have you come from?" And the girl waved, "I've come from far up the coast." "But who do you belong to? What are you doing here?" And the child didn't really give a clear answer, but looked with dark eyes at this traveller wife. And she said, "Well, if you've had nothing to eat and there's no one around for you, you'd better come back, we have a little supper left." And she brought her back to the camp, and there she shared the little that was left over with this girl. And the husband said, Where is she from?" And she said, well, she was by the rocks." She said, "Well, she has a family. We cannot take a child. We will be in trouble with the law. Already as tinkers, we are looked on ill. We can't keep her." Well, I said, "We won't keep her. I will just give her some food and she can stay with us until we find who she belongs to." And that's how it was. She followed the woman everywhere. She looked after her like she was her own daughter. And all went well. When they travelled along the coast, they asked everywhere when they traded. But no one had heard about the girl. No one knew of a family where a daughter was missing. And as time went by, she became more and more part of the family. Although still, the brothers, the old brothers, they didn't really want this girl around. She paid them no attention, but they saw it made their mother happy. So time went by and all seemed fine. She would take the girl down to the water, and one day she took it upon herself to teach her to swim. "If you're going to stay with us rowing in the boat, you need to swim." But as soon as the girl entered the water, she swam as if she had always known. So lithe, so fast, so natural in the water. Anyway, time went on. And one day, as they sat upon the rocks, that young lass, she looked at the woman, who she called Mother, and she said, "Mother, why is there that sadness with you?" "Oh, I'm not sad." No, but I see it. There's a sadness with you." And she said, "For many years I have been tied to the sea, and truly the salt is not in my blood, but in my husband's. I miss my brothers and my sisters. I would know what has become of them." "But Mother, why do you not leave and go to the land?" "How can I when I've had my 2 sons? How will they manage without me when I cook and I clean? I am needed here. That can never be." And the girl sat silent after that. And that evening, when they had been cooking and the older brother had gone to look for firewood, she went and she sought him out. And she said to her older brother, she'd never even passed a time of day with him before, she said, "Do you know what they say about you when you are away from the camp?" "What are you talking about?" "They say that you do not pull your weight, your father and your younger brother. They say that you waste time fishing but catch not enough, that you don't help with the tin making and the trading, that you don't pull on the oar as often as you should. Your father is getting old and he needs your help, but you do not do enough." "Is this what they say about me?" said the older brother. "It is." And he went into a silence, and when he went back, he was sullen. And the next evening, when it was the other brother's turn to fetch the driftwood to make the fire, the girl went to him and she said, "Have you not heard what the others, your father and your older brother, say about you? How they say that you are good at basket making, but that is all. You do not pull hard enough on the oar, and you are weak at fishing. Is that what they say about me?" "It is." He too went into a silence. And when they got back and they were eating, there was a silence, a sullenness between the 2 brothers, and then they got to speaking, and then they got to fighting. And there was ill words spoken, and the older brother, he went to the tent and he fetched his belongings and he said, "I'm leaving. I'm not wanted here. I'm going to find my uncles." And he set off before the mother could even prevent him, and he had gone to the land. And the next evening, the girl called her father, who she had barely spoken to, and asked him if he would go with her to fetch wood. And together at the shore on the rocks, they fetched pieces of driftwood, and she said, "Your older brother has left, your older son has left, and you know why." "Well, why?" "For he does not respect you, for you are old. You can no longer pull on the oar strong enough. You're too much in need of your sons. And your younger son, who remains, he's resentful of you as well. You do not do enough for the family. You are of no use." "Is this what they say?" said the father. And when he went back, ill words were spoken between him and his younger son. And they fell out, and the younger son went and fetched his belongings. And although his mother protested, he was away. "I'm going to find my uncles on the land." Well, the husband and wife, what could they do? He was no longer strong enough to pull on the boat by himself, pull on the oars and transport the goods to sell from door to door. And she was too young to help. And as she sat on the rocks the next day with her mother, she said, "Mother, why are you looking so worried?" She said, "I am worried. I'm worried for my 2 sons who have left." "But they are young men," said the daughter. "They will survive on their own. They do not need you anymore." "Well, I am worried about my husband then. But how will he manage? He can no longer manage trading along the coast." "Mother, did you not say that you wanted to leave the coast and go to the land and find your brethren?" "I suppose I did. And will you not now have the chance to do that?" Did it stop recording? will you not have the chance to do that now that your sons have gone? And she looked at the girl and she said, my daughter, I suppose I shall. Yes. And the daughter said, all is well. And with that she stood and she pulled her dress over her head and she dived into the water and she began to swim out. And she was a strong swimmer, but there was a swell that day. And the mother called after her, take care. But further and further out she swam and then turned and with a wave was gone. And the woman wailed and wept and she ran to her husband. Our daughter is lost. She is drowned in the waters. Wife, have you not known? I have known from the start. That she is no lass. She is the seal pup that you saved. And this is her way of thanks that she has come. And she knew that this was true, and she said to her husband, why do you have that pack upon your back? And he says, I've pulled the boat up into the rocks. I will leave the boat. I can no longer trade along the coast. We must go now and look to trade on the land. And she went with him carrying his tin goods, and they set off away from the shore. And there on the land she soon met her brothers and her sisters, and all went well for her. And she found her sons as well, and reunited, and there was no sorrow or ill feeling, for now they were reunited as well. And the story that I've just told you, she told to those uncles and brothers and sisters that she met. And so the story went on down from word of mouth to those who heard it. And she never forgot that seal daughter. The strange